No one seems safe from crime in America's current crisis. That includes college campuses across the country. You can see on the map some of the college towns violent crime has plagued big cities. It's spreading. Just last week, a student at Mount Mercy University in Iowa was wounded when he was caught in the crossfire between two or more shooters. Iowa. Paul Morrow, retired NYPD inspector and founder of OpsDesk.org. And Paul, good morning to you.
Morning.
You wrote about this at FoxNews.com. Coming up, going to drop real soon. Coming to a college near you. Crime, violent incidents are besieging our nation's campuses. Go ahead and make your point there, Paul.
Well, this is one of those things that I think looks inevitable in retrospect, but it snuck in under the radar. But of course, if we're going to have crime spikes in the cities, then it's going to begin to affect conditions on campus. When we began to look at it, we were astonished because it was so bad, in fact, that every day as we were updating the piece, another event would occur. And we began to realize just how significant this spike was. It was parents who put us onto this, who are concerned about their children going. Right now is when they're beginning to do their college applications for next year. And we began to hear from parents about this, and sure enough, when we looked at it and we started to connect the dots, we realized we have a real phenomenon here.
What's the one? Is there an example of a parent calling you guys saying, "I think my kid wants to go to this place," and you saying, "Yep. Are you sure about that?"
What it really was I think what sparked it was the Marist story. Marist College, we had this national story where a father went up to see his child, and he was killed in a hotel off campus. And in looking at that, I think a lot of parents began to do some research, and they began to ask us what we were seeing at the Ops Desk. And what we began to see is that the crime spikes that we're seeing across the country are really beginning to encroach upon the campus environment.
And why would that be?
Well, you have young students that very often are from someplace else, and they're probably not very savvy to their environment. They're going out into bars, they're in restaurants, they're on the street, and not all of this happens at night. Some of it's during the day. But let's be clear, the crimes that we're talking about are violent. We're talking about shootings, we're talking about killings, we're talking about carjackings. The schools are doing what they can, and in fact, the parents are working in many instances with the Berkeley, or not exactly, a pro-police bastion. The parents have actually banded together to pressure the school to do more, and in fact, the school has hired a new private security firm.
Wow.
Johns Hopkins is forming their own police department. And what's interesting is, in many instances, the students don't want it because many of the students are very susceptible to the defund phenomenon, right? That narrative can take hold. So while the parents are agitating for more safety, and the schools get it, many instances, the students are less on board.
To that point, you're right. Around the country, men are taking steps like increasing public safety personnel, instituting escorts for students, adding neighborhood watch programs, and installing cameras and better lighting. It's a necessary response to a trend that, if left unchecked, could allow the college experience that is the foundation of adult education in this country to slip away. Another victim of the progressive defund movement so in vogue in our cities, Paul.
Yeah, so that's actually, that's in the piece that's going to drop today on FoxNews.com on the opinion page. And the risk there is that, look, we've all grown up, for the most part, my generation, we went to college, many people went away to college, and that's very much part of the formative experience of becoming an adult in America. There's a socialization that goes on, right? Yep. And if it gets to the point where a lot of that is being taken away, you're going to have to hide out in your campus room, your dorm room, then a lot of that experience is going to go away. And it would really be a shame. And it actually is getting to the point where the spike is that bad. Again, when we began to focus on it, we began to see every day, two a day, 3 a day. Over this weekend, we had a few. And we began to realize this is not fanciful. This is not an illusion. This is a phenomenon.
And it's all across the country. We opened up talking about a story in Iowa.
That's right. That's right. It's no place is immune. And if you look at the piece that's going to drop today, I think it would behoove parents to take a look. It has some resources, things that you can look at. The campuses put out, the schools put out a thing called the Cleary Report that focuses on the campus crime. It's not wonderfully indicative of conditions. The schools are doing what they can. Better to just look at what's going on in that town where the school is.
Well, makes a lot of sense. Right. Thank you, Paul. Nice to see you.
One more thing to think about.
One more.
Good to have you. Thank you.